So what's going on, guys? My name is Viollent. Welcome to GRIZZ Zombies. What's going on here is we got a interview that JC did with Jason Blundell, and this was about Zombie Chronicles, okay? So he reveals everything going on with why Mob of the Dead is not involved in Zombie Chronicles, and it's a really good explanation. So a link to the full video in the description box below. For now, enjoy.
But yeah, Mob, I can't say too much, but what I would say is I'm sure there's another purpose for that at some point. So I didn't feel it thematically fit in the pack, and yeah, who knows? It was probably one of the first maps that we did a big Treyarch outing. So we actually took everyone and went to Alcatraz. I think down on the docks, I think there's a tree there. I think I mentioned this to you when we were out, but there's a tree. If you go near it, it's creaking. Well, our sound guys were actually there with the headphones and the microphone. That tree is the actual creak from the tree at Alcatraz. It's we really kind of studied the place. And when we first put down Mob, we actually built all of Alcatraz. If you get like a picture of Alcatraz, you'll see there's whole sections that we cut off. Well, we actually built that. We built the whole thing. And we kind of hit alpha, which is a kind of development term for a certain point. Sorry to talk down, but like, as in like it's a point where you've got to make hard decisions. And we said, we've got to lose this, and we kind of chopped it up and made it more condensed. But yeah, we went for an authentic recreation of the whole space, which was great fun. Cool. So it has a special place in our hearts, you know.
I like that.
There's 8 maps, and I think it has another place, and you know,
it's crazy.
It's like the transit characters, right? You know, there's maps that the transit characters on that I would love to go back and to play with and do fun things with. My version of that is the comics, and I'm very happy with what we're doing on the comics in terms of bringing those characters back into focus, playing with their tones slightly. You know, some people are fans of the transit characters and setups, other people weren't. Hopefully I'm not offending anyone, but I went in the comics and just changed the tone slightly and to see what kind of reaction people are having there. Take risks and go to places that are, you know, hopefully a little bit unpredictable. I hope that also that the people in the community who have kind of come along with us, I think are growing to kind of trust the fact that we have their best intention at heart, and that doesn't always mean giving you the nice wrapped up Hollywood ending. It's I think that's one of the spirits that kind of keeps the community growing, keeps the conversation alive. So I try to reward, and I try to give solid things to people to hold on to, while also kind of keeping the fun going. You've got to keep changing what it is that's moving that peak and trough, right? Because if you did the same thing every single time, that would wear thin. So you're looking at kind of keeping a spirit going, but hopefully trying to change the techniques you're using to create that emotion. Because like if you looked at, let's say, Revelations ending and look at Origins ending, you could say, well, at a meta level, it's the same. Yeah, pretty much. But if you looked at a narrative structural system, they're radically different. Okay. So there's 2 things going on, right? There's an emotional response, which you'd say they're spiritually connected, but narratively, they're doing different things to you. You want to be putting it out and going, I just don't know. I just don't know. Because that's exciting for me. You know, earlier in my career, you'd never have heard me say that, because when you go into the games industry, you want to get, I mean, you just... I'll tell you a story which nearly every person in the games industry could tell you if you had a chat with them. Okay. When you first get into the games industry, there's this feeling that, oh gosh, one day they're going to find out that I'm a fraud and I'll get kicked out. Because when you start working in the games industry, you're like, this is so amazing. This is so fun. I'm such a fraud. You know, because everyone around you is so talented and so passionate and energetic, and you're like, I'm not as good as them. They're all amazing. And so early in people's careers, they're a little bit more restrained, because they want to make sure they're hitting all the time. And as you kind of go along, you get to a point where suddenly you start to think, oh, I'm actually okay, and I can hold my weight with these guys. And then you experiment. Yeah, and then you realize that everybody else is having the same fears. And then a team matures and then settles down with itself. And that's what the benefit you have at Treyarch. You know, people have been here 10 plus years, all working together and staying together. That angst calms down, and then you say, okay, let's go places that we would be scared to go.
So there you have it. The exact reason why Mob of the Dead was not included in the Zombies Chronicle package. Will it be included in something in the future? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below, because we're about to have a conversation about Mob of the Dead and how it fits in the storyline and what I'm thinking of what's going now. There was a theory that stood for a long period of time, and that was the blood vials were acquired from the actual Mob of the Dead characters, and that's what helped save our characters' lives, the original four, the Origins characters. At the end of Revelations, they had those blood from a cursed realm, a different dimension, and that is the actual truth, but it wasn't the blood from the actual Mob of the Dead characters. It was from the transit characters, and we got a lot more clarity as to what happened when they collected the blood, okay? So the blood was actually acquired from the zombie Richtofen. Our Richtofen had communications with the zombie Richtofen and was able to get the blood from the transit characters before he actually acquired the Chronorium. So I find this quite interesting. The blood vials are still very confusing because they have the numbers of our Mob of the Dead characters, the cell numbers of those particular characters. I think it was Sal and Finn. Yeah, Sal DeLuca and Finn O'Leary. But perhaps the greatest mystery still lies within the actual loading screen of Mob of the Dead. There's a cipher on the right-hand side, one that has not been cracked still to this date. The community's stumped for years, and we're still stumped. So this may unlock a key to the actual storyline. Blundell knew way back that we did not need to solve this information until way in the future. Maybe he's had this planned the whole time, but Mob of the Dead is definitely playing a role in our next game, and that's what I find most compelling about this information. So in the video that we just saw of Jason Blundell himself talking about Alcatraz, it was fully built. They built and constructed the entire place. It was only because of the constraints that they had. They were in the alpha stage of development, which means they got to go into beta, and then they have to push the game out so it's ready. And they were in that bind, so they had the whole thing plotted out, and I believe they were working on building the entire facility of Mob of the Dead, where we know now with the Illuminati helped Richtofen build an underground base underneath of Alcatraz. Is that going to be included in the next game? They could take this so far if they really wanted to, and I hope they do. I'm all for the next game actually pushing Alcatraz and Mob of the Dead as the main part of the storyline. I think that's a perfect thing to go off of. And Chronicles is the journey of Samantha that we're going through right now. It all kind of makes sense when you think about it. The short answer, we've always wanted to break the cycle, and we've been praying for that ending ever since Mob of the Dead. We got Origins instead, and then it turned out to be Revelations where we completed the cycle. Haven't found a way to actually break the cycle yet. So what if the next game actually leads into that process becoming reality, and Samantha is behind that plan actually coming into fruition? So I think that's a perfect plot and a plot twist that a lot of people wouldn't see coming. And that's kind of where my head's at in the theory of Mob of the Dead being included. I do think the blood vials are playing a huge role because they're from cursed dimensions, dimensions that don't exist, and they're able to access them. Richtofen he has the knowledge of the Chronorium, and he can use that ability because he's got wisdom that's beyond his own imagination built in that Chronorium. You know, I don't really know who wrote it, but Richtofen's able to read it, and it's got powerful information that he can use to his own advantage, and he takes control of that. So he is the only man in the world who can do science the way he does. That's why Richtofen is such a great character, and I love zombies because Richtofen is so great. He's one of the heroes I look up to. My other great hero is Rick Grimes. Maybe a lot of you guys already know I'm a huge Walking Dead fan, and I cannot wait for the next season to come out where Negan is gonna face his end, I hope. I don't know. I just want to see Rick Grimes, put him under citizen's arrest or something, and then put him in the prison cell, kind of like the comic, you know. He might actually kill Negan, but I hope he puts him in the prison cell. It's kind of where I'm leaning. I don't know. That's just my theory right now. But back to Mob of the Dead, I do think it's important for us to break the cycle eventually, and I'm not sure if the next game is the answer to that. We may not have an answer to breaking the cycle quite yet, but don't get your hopes down. I think we have a bright future for zombies ahead of us, and Treyarch is the answer, and in them we trust. I'll see you guys in the next video. Viollent out.